Hey there! Today we're going to talk about a type of pen that is not of interest to everyone. I know that may be a discouraging way to start a video, but I just want to be clear. This is a type of calligraphy pen, and if you like calligraphy, almost certainly you are aware of the Pilot Parallel Pen. So these are very interesting pens. These are the original four sizes. That was 2.4, 3.8, 1.5 and 6 millimeters. If you've never seen one, I'll just show you 6 millimeters. So this is what these pens look like. Very interesting. Parallel for a reason, right? It's just two sheets of metal. And the nice thing about these is that they take cartridges or a converter. So unlike with a dip pen, which frankly it's superior for calligraphy. Dip nibs are the best. I'm not going to argue that. I really think they're the best. The crispest angles, they're superior. However, the difficulty with dip nibs, especially when you're learning calligraphy and you do it a lot, is that you continuously have to dip. And even if they have a little ink reservoir on top, you still have to redip them a lot. The parallels are great because you fill them up. Fill them up with a converter, or even eyedropper fill them. That's quite a long barrel, holds a lot of ink. Now, this day and age, we have the technology, and they make them in more than these four sizes, but I felt they still topped out at 6 millimeters, which, again, that's a very broad nib. Now, I saw on Instagram my friend Sally from Salamander Nibs in Calgary. She had a very interesting, she does very interesting nib work, she had this pen on her feed. And this is I'm just very careful to not unscrew the wrong thing here. Yeah, this is a Chinese calligraphy pen with clearly a huge nib. So this is 11 millimeters. That's almost twice the width of I think it's still the biggest Pilot Parallel. So I said, that's really cool. She said, well, I challenge you to review one. So I ordered one. I'll talk a little bit about the pen as I point the camera down. I'll do a writing sample. Obviously, this is a very specific nib, right? This is 11 millimeters. You're not going to do your grocery shop list with this. But if you like calligraphy, you want to do really big calligraphy, traditionally you're stuck with a plakat nib, which is a type of dib nib that's just like a really, like sort of a sheet of metal, like kind of triangle anyway, it's very big. Look it up, P-L-A-K-E-T, sorry, P-L-A-K-E-T. I only say look it up because it's easier to just look at what that is than try to describe it, but it's a super broad dib nib. Now, in between that and the regular 6 millimeter parallel is this pen. They come in various sizes. I'll talk a little bit about them as I tilt the camera down. I'll do a writing sample and then I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. And of course you just want to see it in action, I know. So let's go. Okay, so here we go with this interesting pen. No box, it just came in a bubble wrap envelope wrapped in more bubble wrap. So very, very simple pen. I'll show it next to you. Sorry, I'll show you a Pilot Parallel as well. So certainly a different shape. And if you don't know what a parallel looks like, here we have a Pilot Metropolitan. Maybe you know that. So certainly a nicely sized pen. Not too big, not too small. For calligraphy, you really, I know every pen you hold when you're writing with it, but calligraphy pen has to be comfortable, because you go slow and etc. So I thought it was quite nice. I paid for this $16.40, so less than $17 Canadian. These come in a range of nib width. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11 millimeters. Currently I saw them on AliExpress for $12.42, so even less than I paid for it. And there is that buyer protection, so if it ends up not showing up at your door, then they will refund you. So AliExpress says, I'll work on the premise that that's true. Clearly labeled on top, and it's very simple. I think it's just a sticker. So I mean, I don't really care. It works. It does what it's supposed to do, right? Nice touch. It has a roll stopper. It doesn't have a clip, but it does have a roll stopper, so it shouldn't roll off your desk. Clear plastic. Quite like that. Looks kind of nice. You can see the nib, and the downside is you can see all the ink splatter, but there we are. Big ink window. Fascinating filling system. This is all ink. I'll show you that close up in just a second. barrel. I'm pretty sure you can eyedropper this because I haven't seen any holes in this. So if you can eyedropper it, that's a lot of ink capacity. Not a bad thing given how wet these pens are. And even if they're not particularly wet, it's a lot of ink coming out. I'm just wiping the section a bit. I got this tiny cloth with some sort of electronic product, and I just keep it in my pen case. It's very useful for quickly wiping something down. Anyway, you can see the feed. Looks like some sort of round feed. I haven't tried to disassemble that, but I can at some point. And you have this barrel. Now, very interesting. It's sort of a, I mean, not sort of, it's a draw filler. So this is all ink reservoir. You put in a bottle of ink, you push in this piston, you pull it back up, and all of this fills with ink. Quite a lot of ink, which again is very nice given the huge ink consumption of this nib. Very wide, very much like a parallel, except it's so wide that it actually tapers a bit, but it's all there. 2 plates of steel, never as crisp as a dip nib would be, but you don't have to continuously dip either. So if you're just a casual calligrapher, as I am, I'm not a professional, my calligraphy is not very good, but it's just a creative outlet for me and I like doing it. And frankly, that's, I think, why you should do calligraphy, right? Because it's fun for you, you like that bit of creative expression. I think you could do a lot worse than get this pen, especially for the price. Like under 20 bucks Canadian, right? Not even US. I think you get a pretty good deal. Let's see if I'm just quickly priming this. Let's see what we can do with this pen, because I'm sure you just want to see it in action. I didn't ink up any of the actual parallels. I have, I'm pretty sure, done a review of them in the past. Here we have this pen. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff I usually do, I cannot do with this, right? Because I mean, like quick writing and all that stuff doesn't really work. So I'll try to do 1 or 2 styles of calligraphy. If you're like a really good calligrapher, you may want to look away because it's a bit embarrassing. But again, it's fun to me. The ink is Pilot Carbon Black, so a nice intense black. But even that, as you can see, looks a little gray. It's so much ink being put down, so broad a line that it's quite interesting. Okay, so we have I'm not going to do the whole quick brown fox. I'll just do something else, and then I'll try to do some faster writing so you can get a bit of a feeling for it. It's interesting though, because I mean, with a calligraphy pen, you wouldn't really go very fast. You saw a little bit of sort of slight skippage, but I think that adds a nice touch. Now, what I will say is, if you're used to a parallel, you know that you can put it on its corner and use it. And with this pen, I found it works, but it requires a bit more pressure than a parallel does. Now that could be because it's just so broad and the ink demand is so high that you really need to press it down to saturate that part of the nib. Okay, so this is the bad calligraphy that should have ended up there, but I was half talking, half not paying attention. Now we have a whole new type of S. I like them apples. So you have to work a little bit with that, but it works pretty well. You can get a nice thin line when you hold it perpendicular to the paper. You can play a bit with that, make it a little wider. The maximum line, let's put it that way, you can get with that. Nib looks like this. You can see what an absurdity this is, but it is a lot of fun. Fast writing, you see it starts to do this, which to me is kind of an interesting artistic effect on its own that I want to experiment with a bit. But here we have it. So certainly an interesting nib. that you can have some fun with if you like that kind of calligraphy. And if you need to paint a house, this is a pretty efficient way to do it. Now, in my classic B.R.E. Brown style, obviously apples, banana, you're not going to write a grocery list with this, are you? So that's not what it's meant for. You have to be insane to use something this broad, but again, if you want, for normal writing, I mean, if you want to do some fun calligraphy, you see you can get some pretty nice crisp angles with this. Never as crisp as a dip nib, but hey, this is pretty close. And for 17 bucks, I'll take it, because it's been a lot of fun. So there you have it. Chinese Parallel is what they're called on AliExpress. If you want one, check it out there. It's a lot of fun, I will tell you that. So with that, where's the cap? Here's the cap. Let's talk about some likes and dislikes. That's a lot of threads, by the way. You will not accidentally unscrew that. Likes and dislikes. What do I like? What do I not like about this, the Chinese Parallel? That's what it was called on AliExpress, so I'm going to go with that. I like a lot about it. It was 1640, that's Canadian. Currently I saw them for 1242, so they went down. I feel AliExpress prices fluctuate a bit. You can probably pick one up for a reasonable price. Given the quality, the plastic feels not super flimsy, and given how well it writes, I'm actually really impressed for that. For that price, you get a lot. You probably get one of the broadest nibs you can get in a fountain pen. If you want to do that large size calligraphy, this is a really good option. Fills well. That sort of draw filler type converter works really well, holds a lot of ink, but with a nib this size, in half an hour it's dry. Just because it's so much ink it puts down. Now, things I don't like so much, it looks to me like it should be postable because you have that little cutout there, and mine certainly did not post. It doesn't really matter to me either, but anyway, there we are. I have a good feeling you might be able to eyedrop or fill this if you're able to remove that cartridge converter. I haven't tried because I haven't felt the need. That would certainly alleviate the even large capacity converter draining very quickly, but I don't know if it comes out. I simply haven't tried it. Things I don't like so much. There was one person online who said that he had bought one and that it wouldn't write. So buyer beware, I don't know what that was. I will say, I do this with all pens I buy. I always flush them out as soon as they come in with 1 or 2 drops of dishwashing detergent in water. Flush them with that, then copious regular water, clean water. Sometimes there are oil residues in pens, and sometimes, especially in cheaper pens, super mass-produced pens, you can find that. So maybe that would help, but obviously I don't know. So I will say it sounds like they don't all work, and I suppose I was lucky because out of the box didn't do anything to it. I mean, out of the slightly padded bubble wrap envelope, because there was no box, it worked straight away. So I will say that, and I kind of like the clear look. I think it's kind of cool that you can see that massive nib. So I honestly like it a lot. And if you like calligraphy, I don't think this is a massive investment. Try one out. And I will say AliExpress guarantees delivery. So if for whatever reason it doesn't show up, I've certainly had that happen with things that came in from China. Sometimes they just don't show up at all. AliExpress gives you your money back. So I think that's pretty cool. I haven't tried that. I don't know if it actually works, but that's what they claim. So I'm working on the premise that that's true. So there isn't really much of a risk. And delivery time, in case you care, was I think about 2 weeks, which is really not bad because I remember the days when you'd order something from China, it could easily be 2-3 months for something to show up. I think 2 weeks is pretty cool. So I'm happy with it. It's fun to play with. I think it's a really fun pen, and if you're looking for something for really big calligraphy, now you got it. Hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.